Let's get it. Welcome to another marvelous episode of College Football Showdown. I am the governor of college football, and with me, as always, is my co-pilot, Jalen Wilson. Jalen, it's been a crazy week of college football news. We got a
About
few
week and a half, really.
spring game. Yeah, it's. I feel like it's been some time. Shout out to D Now. D Now is always the first one in the chat. I feel like whatever show we do, so shout out to him. We had a record breaking. I don't know if you caught it. Overreaction Monday, and it was record breaking. We had almost 200 people in the building.
I fell asleep on
Yeah,
Monday. I
it
ain't
was
gonna
a
lie. I
really,
was like, I was
it
dead
was a
tired.
really good, it was a really good show, and we'll kind of continue some of that conversation. Also, I have an announcement to make. Starting on Monday, I will be going live an hour Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. That's moving forward for the rest of the off season and end season. I'll be going live Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from an hour. I think we locked down 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And you'll definitely be able to catch it on the Twitter. I'm not sure which YouTube yet. And because I don't want to oversaturate ours with my content, so it might end up being mine, but it'll still be on the CFB Nation YouTube, man. But let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. Late window transfer portal has opened yesterday, and a frenzy has begun. And as teams deal with the loss of players and circling the wagons to get additional funds seems to be the topic of the day. Like teams trying to get additional funds. Yeah, because the money ain't there, I guess. A shout out to the mayor of college football, Nino Brown, is in the building as well. And they're trying to get marquee players from the portal. Jalen, I wanted to have like an editorial piece, kind of on the current state of the sport. We kind of did this on Monday, and we're going to take this a step further. Nino, D Now, and myself, we're going to really try to come up with a way to reform. But I want to kind of, touch on it here now a little bit too.
Reform what? NIL, the portal?
Both.
I know a way to reform the portal.
Creating a governing body. I want to hear that. Creating a governing body to do it. So we're going to do all inclusive, but I want to hear your way to reform the portal. So while I don't think the college football portal is as bad as the college basketball portal, but I think there are teams like Wisconsin and Iowa who have legitimate gripes. As it pertains to NIL, more specifically with Caden Proctor debacle from last season, and Tanner Kazuli, however you say his name, Ball State tight end who transferred for the bag in Madison and ended up leaving Wisconsin during the late window. We know we need reform, but in my opinion, college football is still the best sport ever. We're still getting a quality product week in and week out. My question to you, Jalen, is how bad is this thing? How fixable is it? How do we fix it? You said you have an idea of how to fix the portal. I want to hear it.
Oh yeah, the portal is I think it's simple. You transfer. You back to the old rule. You transfer and you sit a year unless you graduate transfer, or unless you got like a specific reason that you transfer. Like if your coach leave, okay, you can play. But
you have
you just want to chase money, sit another year.
So you think we should go back to the red shirt year?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna push back a little bit because we do have those situations like Cam Newton, got caught, doing whatever he did during his time in Gainesville, and when it was time for him to transfer, Urban Meyer knew the talent that Cam Newton was. Urban Meyer wasn't a fool, but he made a strenuous list of schools he could not transfer to, pretty much making it the only way was to go down and play JUCO just to come back up. So yes, it wasn't technically a red shirt year, but in a way it was a red shirt year. So you think we should bring the red shirt year back? What are some circumstances outside of the norm that you think that those should be allowed as well? Like, and how do we keep it without having a gray area? I think if we're going to do it, it needs to be black and white. It shouldn't be too many gray areas. I know you said one of the things that you mentioned was, hey, if you got to change your coach, boom, you should be free to go. So let's talk about some other circumstances.
Yeah, like I know, I remember Luke Ford, Illinois tight end. This is when the red shirt rule was still a thing, but this is like near the end. I think he transferred to Illinois in 2018 or 2019. He came from Georgia. But he was like, his grandpa's sick. He wanted to be closer to home. And he wanted to play at Illinois. So he transferred to Illinois from Georgia, but they made him red shirt anyways. I think if it's like a family situation like that, I can see,
that could be a circumstance that okay, I need to be closer to home. I get it. So what about progressive transfers? Whether you're at the FCS level trying to, go to the FBS level, whether you're, at a five school and you want to go play for a Power Four school. What about those progressive moves that aren't lateral moves, only so you could play at a bigger program, get more light, and help you get to the NFL? Where does that fall under?
I think you sit another year. I mean, it's a progressive move. I mean, you
It's
still gonna
progressive
have you. I
move, but
mean, you still gonna play. You just
okay,
gonna wait another year.
you still sit a year.
Yeah.
So would you have any leniences for people who are like, let's say you never transferred before, your junior or senior, last year ball, like will you still have to sit?
If you're a senior, no.
If you're a
If you're
senior, no.
junior, yeah.
So if you're a junior, yes. So if you're a senior, no. So you say, the hell with all of this. Let's go ahead and get this in black and white. If there's unless there's some crazy circumstances, you're gonna sit and have a red shirt year. So how do you think people's recruiting trail, like how would that change that landscape? Because if we think about it, we may see more marquee players going to lower tier schools where they know they'll get their playing time versus going to a powerhouse where, when you're thinking about pipelines, you think about, roster depth, a team with, you play cornerback and, that damn, the minute I get the training camp, I'm going to be the sixth cornerback, or I can go over here and play at Central Michigan where I'll be the dude. Like, so,
Yeah.
like, what would that look like?
Can you ask that question again?
So I'm just saying, like, do you think that will force kind of parity?
Force more
like
people
to force parity.
Okay.
Like, the top flight kids are kind of spread out, or because there's still some kids that want to do it the Archman way, where I go, let me learn the system, thoroughly understand the system, and then when it's my time, I'm going to shine. And I'm one and done and two and done. Even though I had been with the program for 4 years.
I think it make kids take the other route of going to different type of schools, instead of going to Alabama where you got
still going to a clout school that looks good when you put out your recruiting graphic, or I'm going to this program. Okay.
I think it could do that. I don't know how that will look, because it'll be interesting. Like, you could be like, oh yeah, but we already saw that 10 years ago, when basically what I'm saying was already a thing. Their whole red shirt. Oh, you got a red shirt unless you like a graduate transfer. But it wasn't the same. Now the portal was more of a thing than what it was even 6 years ago. So we could see players, go somewhere else, create a little bit more parity in college football. But honestly, I do not know if that happens, because at the end of the day, you got to think these are still 17, 18-year-olds. They still want some of them still just want to go to Bama. Some of them still just want to go to Georgia. Some of them still want to go to Ohio State, Clemson. They still want to go to the top schools, Texas. On top of that, they're still going to chase the money. So there's also that as well. I don't know if that exactly happens. It could, but with NIL, with the top team still having so much money, I don't know if it will.
Do you think at some point we'll need a cap?
Yeah, but I don't know how you make it. Honestly.
I don't know how you do it too, because because it's kind of like, do you remember like when the MLB free agency first started, and how dynasties were able to be created?
Yeah,
it was no salary cap. So if you could afford it and you were in a huge market, and man, I'm gonna buy me a team, and I'm gonna attempt to buy a championship. I don't know. I just looking at this Nico situation. You and I haven't really discussed it, and I know it's kind of veering away from the script, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Because me and you had a disagreement.
We did.
we disagreed on who we deem at fault. So can you let everybody know who you hold more accountable for the debacle with Nico and the Tennessee Volunteers?
Well, I don't know if I hold anybody accountable. Like, I know people want to blame his dad, which they say his dad might be really involved in this, because they also pointed at his brother transferring as well. And they said his dad got something to do with that.
His brother's transfer, Madden's transfer?
Either he transferred or he decommitted, if I'm not mistaken, whenever he was in high school.
Right.
It was one of the two. I was talking to my friend, the one that's connected to the recruiting and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And he was like telling me about that. Like, honestly, of course, I'm on Tennessee side, as you know. I would not have paid Nico $3 million, and I know other quarterbacks are getting paid close to that, if not more. Carson
Yeah.
Beck probably won. I'm not paying. I wouldn't pay Carson Beck $3 million.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
DJ
pay that man
Lamb.
a meal.
I mean, but it's the market though. Think about like over the years, right? And one of the first players I remember, you remember Dallas Cowboys. You probably won't remember this. In the 90s, had this cornerback like named Larry Brown, right? Yeah, he had like an interception in the Super Bowl, and then like I forgot what team it was. It might have been the Raiders. I think it was the Raiders. Like overpaid for him, like because that's the market. Like we seen teams like somebody have a really good season, and we see every year in free agency.
Somebody overpaid.
The market drives up those numbers, right? So of course, without a cap, without those mandatory minimums, and mandatory minimums is something I believe. I think Nino came up with. He had an idea about mandatory minimums. Like, hey, you sign on to play with this program, you gotta give us 25 games, which is essentially 2 seasons. Like
that was that.
That was his thing. Like 25 games, mandatory minimum, and you can't transfer. And I thought that was a great solution to kind of minimizing our issues with the
and I assume that means I just have to be dressed 25 games because of course some players just don't get to play.
Right, and that's what he was saying. He was saying dress 25 games, not you ride the pine, and he was saying dress 25 games, and I thought that was a great approach to kind of figuring this thing out.
Yeah, with the whole Nico situation, honestly,
but I gotta say, but the market, the market had increased. So is it fair for the team to get a $20 million stipend for making a college football playoff, and those players don't get anything? No. I'm sorry. Maybe anything is the wrong thing. They don't get any financial rewards. They do. Of course, the bowl game gives them, like watches and sometimes video game consoles, but
that's only if you make it to the bowl game.
Right. So the College Football Playoff Committee pays the university $20 million for making a playoff. Good. That's good for the brand. Hooray. Yeah. That's good. That you know what I'm saying? But these players don't get anything. You in an all-star game in the NBA, you get a check.
Yeah.
You feel me? You win a Super Bowl.
But they're also contractually like they're also like I don't know how the whole like I know people renew with the contracts and all that. Yeah, they're like professionally,
right?
So like of course they're gonna get paid for the playoffs and the all-star games and same thing with NFL. But with the whole Nico situation, I'm like, okay, we made 20 mil, but I'm not gonna pay you $4 million of that for the production that you gave us. Because honestly, I feel like your production was just okay. Like,
you think it's more of the player, or do you think it's more of the system?
I think some of the players.
It's a balance of both.
It's probably a balance of both. But I did get to watch Nico last year. I did get to watch a good amount of him last year, and I feel like sometimes he overthrew some players.
I
made some bad reads.
The defense in the running game definitely carried the program last year. I mean, it's no secret.
Yeah, if I'm Tennessee, I offered Dylan Sampson $3 million before I offered Nico.
Okay, so have you saw they still haven't gotten a quarterback, right? Early reports is that they were getting Avery Johnson. Now I've heard something about Rocco Beck. I don't know what they're doing, but
I heard they like the not George McIntyre. George McIntyre is the true freshman, the other quarterback. I heard they like him.
Really? So is that what they're gonna do? Because now at first I seen fans like, okay, yeah, definitely we'll take Sunshine from the Little Apple. We'll definitely take Avery Johnson, but it looked like they're still struggling to find those funds. And you would think when Nico got on, those funds should like magically appear, or they should be able to get NIL. And I think that's why like people look at Ohio State winning a national championship last year. Ohio State was able to win a national championship because they had players like CJ Stroud coming back and putting up bread like that. They truly built a community where people come back, and they was able to put up the bread. So the fact that a school like Tennessee was one of the biggest schools, I think Neyland Stadium is one of those like bucket list stadiums that I need to visit. Like, and the fact that they can't find the money now, I get it from your perspective. You saying he's not worth it.
No,
that's cool. If you think he's not worth it, he's not worth it. But like, what is this? Day 2 on the portals here, and where's your replacement?
They might already had a replacement on the roster.
And you think they're playoff eligible?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're playoff eligible with Nico, honestly.
All right, let me ask you this: if Tennessee somehow only goes 6-6 or 7-5, is Josh Heupel gone?
No,
he just put his job on the line. So you don't believe he didn't put his job on the line with his move?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
Hey,
one.
listen, he was just in the playoffs. We know what they did in 2022. Like, trust me, I get it. But like I said, this is a bold move, in my opinion. It's a very
It is a bold move because he's like one of the first coaches to say, "Hey, we're not paying you this money.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, walk."
Did you hear like the behind the scenes? Like a lot of people are thinking like the coaches are in cahoots because they're tired of this SHIIT.
Probably. They
Yeah,
probably
you remember?
Did you just see? You heard Fred Brown say earlier, didn't you?
What did he say?
Let me pull up the quote.
That's my guy. I was hoping Nico went there because Syracuse play and this Nino had this take originally.
Well, I assume you saw the quote because it was he was asked about Jabril Penna because he entered the portal. He said, "You're gonna make $2 million at wide receiver. You're gonna make $2 million at wide receiver. That's the homie at Ohio State. I'm not giving no wide receiver in college $2 million, basically."
Like, coaches are sticking to their guns, but I mean, I would.
When he said the homie at Ohio State, he meant Jeremiah Smith. He said,
"Yeah, we know,
he's worth $2 million."
Like, yeah, we know 100% who he meant.
Which I agree with him. I'm not paying. Hey, Penna's good, but I don't want to pay you that money. Jeremiah Smith, shoot, go ahead. We get you 2 more years anyways. Like,
right. Guarantee we got you for 2 more years. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of see where this thing goes. But let's go ahead and get into our next segment. Colorado Buffaloes were one of the darlings. I know a lot of people didn't want them to be of the sport this past season, with Shedeur Sanders having a dynamic season and some late game magic. We all remember the late game against Baylor, and Travis Hunter taking home the Heisman. The Buffalo faithful will have something to believe in again. Jalen, with that being said, what is the current temperature in Boulder? What do you think that fan base feels like right now?
I think they feel good. But honestly, I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay.
Because I feel like, if I say I'm not feeling all that well, I'm hating. And I'm not, and like, I feel like it's discrediting what they did last year, right?
I feel like because we've been supporters of the program for so long, I feel like we are allowed to be candid. We was candid last season with some of the intel that we were getting. I truthfully did not expect the season.
I didn't either. I didn't expect the season. Yeah, I said maybe 3 wins.
Right. Like, just because of what we saw the year before, seemed to be a lack of discipline from coaches and lack of discipline from the players. And then how we both feel about Deion Sanders not doing in-home visits. He's Deion primetime Sanders. I get it. Greatest cornerback to ever play the game, and he's doing a hell of a job as a ball coach. I just still think in-home visits need to happen. That's all I say.
Yeah, and I just look at it as like, okay, you won 9 games last year, but you lost your 2 best players.
Yeah,
like which, and you also lost like
plethora of wide receivers. Yep.
Yeah. Shiloh, you lost him. And it's like, yeah, you had a successful season last year, but it was still the same. Some of those holes that we saw in the first season was still there in season 2. Offensive line was better, but it still wasn't all that great. We especially saw that in that bowl game. Oh, that bowl game was terrible. That man still running for his life. The defense still wasn't that great. It was better than the previous year, but it still wasn't that great. I feel like the run game was lackluster. Like,
it was.
And you look at that, okay, so you lose Travis Hunter, your best corner and wide receiver from last year. You lose Shedeur, best quarterback. You lose Jimmy Horner, your second best wide receiver, arguably.
And I know you preferred him over Travis Hunter as a wideout, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, at least last year. I don't know about it. In the NFL, I prefer Travis, but just because of size and everything, and potential. But
you just meant for what Jimmy Horn Jr. meant to that team, the intermediate routes. I got you.
But like, I look at them like, okay, I don't, maybe those holes are fully filled going into season 3, but I don't think they will be. I just don't think they will be. And I feel like some of the stuff that we saw Shedeur and Travis kind of cover up at times might come out again in season 3. So
I feel like
Deion I'm happy though.
I think Deion has a couple of advantages. The idea of nepotism is gone.
Yeah.
Whether it's with a lot of people for some reason don't like Shiloh Sanders. I don't know what bro did to the world, but like I don't know if you saw like
I don't know. He seemed
he
pretty
was
cool.
he was in coverage, right? And he was
Yeah.
getting he's not a cover
He's
safety.
definitely not cover safety.
And like everybody was like, look at this.
But yeah, we know he's not a cover safety, so I don't expect
He
great.
gets in the right system, he'll be fine. He's a thumper, he's an elite toggler. He'll be able to play fine in a scheme that's more zone oriented. But like so the idea of nepotism is gone. Now the real work begins. This quarterback room is a really good quarterback room. If they could just figure things out, I think he has the right staff. If you think about the Warren Sapps of the world, the Marshall Falks of the world. So these are guys that have been there and done that, and he'll definitely catch the ear of everyone. Is just can this come out to be a really good thing? Like, as far as the discipline is concerned, like we remember the Kansas game from last year. I'm tired of seeing games where they just get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like Devin Neal did whatever the hell he wanted to do against Colorado. Kansas could have told them to play and it'd have been nothing that they can do about it. Absolutely nothing they could do.
Yeah, bro, they was getting the ball ran down the whole game. Like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, like, okay. Well, yeah, literally, we're gonna run this way. I dare y'all to stop it. Like, I'm telling you, they could have did that and it wouldn't have got stopped.
Yeah,
so
I remember my dad come home being like, "Oh, like what happened to the Colorado game?" Because he was at work.
They had a chance to go to the Big 12 Conference Championship, and they controlled their own destiny. So we're thinking, we was looking at how Kansas had looked a couple of weeks before. It's like, they should handle business versus Kansas.
Kansas looked a couple weeks. Kansas looked the whole season.
You're right,
kinda.
Right. Like, if we're being honest, right. And then to see that performance, that was one of the worst performances of last year. If I'm being honest.
Kansas saved their season at the end, right? Like they beat Colorado. I think they beat like Iowa State, maybe.
It was somebody that they was able to find something. So I'm interested to see what Kansas looked like this year. But Deion is losing a myriad of talent from last season. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, and probably has one of the lowest RPs in the nation, if not in Power 4. What is your overall outlook of the program at this very moment?
I mean, I feel like I spoke about my outlook kind of also earlier.
Yeah, you kind of tied it all into one. Yeah,
like I don't know how I feel about this team. I honestly don't know how I feel about Colorado. I don't know. I wish if the return of production was better, I would feel a lot better about this. But since it's not, I don't feel. I feel like this: if you don't have a lot of return production, okay, you're going to have some lapses on defense and offense. And I just don't like that. I don't know. I feel like that because it takes time to build that team chemistry, that camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Yeah. I don't know why I meant funk that word.
No, that's so good.
It takes time to build all that stuff. And I don't like that with the low return of production.
I look at it like this. The last few seasons, we've seen a team emerge out of nowhere in the Big 12. In 2022, it was TCU.
Yeah.
2023, it was a couple teams. You can say Kansas. You can possibly say West Virginia. You can also say Oklahoma State because they were really good. And we had high expectations of Oklahoma State heading into last season. This past season, it was definitely Arizona State and Colorado came to the scene. I feel like every year there's some teams that just absolutely surprise you. The media, which is us, because we are Big 12 media, was able to vote on who a lot of us had Arizona State as last. Well, I thought it might have been Kenny Dillingham last year there. Couldn't have been.
I did too. I was like, bro, before last season, I would say Kenny Dillingham became a head coach a little too early.
Yeah, he's done so. Like that, that's all we was thinking is that he was done. So this Colorado team, I think what they have in their favor is you don't really know what they have. And that's kind of a good thing. They're going to be difficult to game plan for. You're going to need some tape in order to, you'll need film to, build intel. So I think they have kind of something working in their favor. They just got to figure it the hell out. Yeah. All righty. So let's talk more about the spring game. What position battles? And shout out to Colorado. It's not a lot of teams still having traditional spring games. I'm glad they were able to still have one. So what are the position battles you'll be paying attention to? And also who are the players to watch?
Would you say quarterback is a position battle?
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, you got Julian Lewis, you got Kane Salter, and you got
Well, the masses think, it's Caden Salter's job to lose. He better perform.
Yeah.
Deion ain't one of
those.
I heard
Julian Lewis has been playing well in camp.
Yeah, Deion not one of them people. Like if his gut tell him Juju, that's who he gonna go with, bro. Like it ain't Deion not one of them type of people. Oh well, it should go to Caden. This is Caden's last year. Like, but I think he's also transparent enough to let like Caden Salter know. Like, Ryan Staub. I think he's one of those people to like let like where you stand. Like if he thinks it's gonna be Juju's job, like after the spring game, I got him saying, "Hey, Caden Salter, you might want to hit this late window portal."
Yeah,
like, I think Deion's that type of guy. We going with Juju this year. I think he's that type of guy. I don't think he'll do what Rhett Lashley did last year.
Keep two quarterbacks.
Yeah, keep two. We're gonna fight it out in the fall camp. Deion is he's straight up, and Deion's about these kids at the end of the day. So I got like if Juju balls out this spring game and he be like, "Hey, Caden Salter, it ain't looking good for you. Go ahead, hit the portal so you can have you another opportunity." I can see Deion doing that. He wouldn't do it.
I had quarterback written down my notes with like a question mark because I feel like Caden Salter. I'll give Caden Salter the edge and kind of not comfortably, but with a good lead.
We've seen enough of Caden Salter though over the last few seasons. I didn't like his body language. One thing about going to these games, and I'll tell everybody this: you see things and you just know. Like Zachariah Branch, anybody can tell you. I went to Maryland and USC game. I know I told Jalen, and I put it in another group chat I'm in with Nino, Boomer, and D now, and I said Zachariah Branch is transferring this year. Why you say that? His body language. It's bro. He did not want to be in the air raid system anymore. Like, I feel like he's a really good gadget player that you have to use a certain type of way. And hopefully Georgia finds a way to use it. But like when you on these sidelines, you see and you hear an awful lot. Went to Liberty game. Last year, I had last 2 seasons, I've had a yearly credential to Liberty game. So got it tied onto my lap. But so I've been to quite a few games, quite a few Liberty games. And I'll tell you this. Caden Salter's body language, you already knew he was leaving. Like he was not invested. Some of the games that they lost last year, even some of the close calls games that they lost, to me, he had checked out mentally with the program. And I think he truly, because didn't he enter the portal and go back?
Yeah.
I think he truly wanted to leave. Like his mind was set on leaving. I think Jamie Shadwell was able to, keep him there, but I'm rooting for the kid. I don't know. So quarterback is what I'll be monitoring most this weekend.
Yeah,
and this game is on ESPN too.
Okay. You also got Draylon Miller, Amarion Miller, and Joseph Williams at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Because of course, and we talked about Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn Jr. both gone. Amarion Miller did show up at times last season.
And the year before as well.
Yeah, so
he had that one weird breakout game. It was against USC actually. Remember he just went Amarion Miller it was against USC in 2023. He just went off, bro. Okay. Yeah, he almost probably had almost 200 yards.
Yeah, because he was a true freshman. I remember them talking about that. And then you got Martavius French and Reginald Hughes for the battle for inside linebacker. Mm-hmm. Which I'm watching Caden Salter. I'm watching Julian Lewis, and Draylon Miller and Joseph Williams are some names I'll be watching too, because I think Amarion Miller got a spot locked. Mm-hmm. But who would be like that second receiver is still a question. And Joseph Williams, I'm definitely watching because they got him from the portal. So, of course, I feel like, when you get somebody from the portal, like you really want that person.
I just lost somebody to the portal too. One of their running backs, Augustus.
Is it Augustus, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised is Dallin Hayden still there?
I'm not too sure. That man disappointed last year.
He did the last couple of seasons, man. I expected him to be the guy in Columbus by this time because we saw the flashes. But I mean that's the sport, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about transferring. So that's the Colorado game. You guys catch that this weekend on ESPN. Texas A&M, if we're speaking candidly, Jalen, in some minds, it's coming off a year in which they overachieved. I truly believe that in a conference that they overachieved. CISO battle at quarterback between Connor Wegman and Marcel Reed, new head coach last season, and Mike Elko, new offensive coordinator, and Colin Klein. The Aggies were just one game outside of the SEC championship. People probably don't remember that they handled business against Texas last game of the season.
It's weird. I never felt like they was a true contender though. Like even when it was the one game, like even when they
Yeah,
controlled their own desk, like I'm like,
they
like
did.
they're like
They had a loss that they shouldn't have had. It was a bad loss. Was it South Carolina? Not that they shouldn't have had, but somebody like stomped a mud hole in them.
it might have been South Carolina. I don't remember.
It might have been. Hey, Browning in the building. Shout out Boise State. What's happening, bro? So yeah, it might have been South Carolina, but I just remember that like if if they won that game against Texas last year, it'd have been Texas A&M and Georgia in the college football playoff, and that was the last game of the season. So it was just really just outside of it. But what was I getting at with that? What's the current temperature in College Station?
I feel like we overachieve, but if I'm a fan, I feel good. Why? Because Mike Elko, I feel like he's going to stay there. I feel like he's a good coach. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I feel like after his successful season, he had the chance to improve on it compared to the previous coach, Jimbo Fisher.
Right.
And we got this young quarterback, Marcel Reed, who he showed flashes last year. Of course, he also showed inconsistencies, but
for sure.
You're gonna take the good with the bad, and you're gonna just hope, honestly, with him. But yeah, with Texas A&M, I mean, I feel good. Yeah, we overachieved last year, but I feel like that means we chose the right coach. That means we chose the right OC. That means we chose the right coaching staff. That means we chose some of the right players. And
they did it in a way that I think you like to do it. Go get you a defensive-minded head coach, and then go get you a hot shot offensive coordinator. And that's what they did. They went and got Colin Klein from Kansas State, which I didn't think he would leave because that's home. They went and got Malik Elko from Duke. So I did like their approach and that. That's like Oklahoma was trying to do the same thing when they got Venables. And then I think his first year was it Jeff Levy?
I think it was Jeff
coordinator. Levy. Yeah, so you like the pairing. I think if you're going to get a defensive minded head coach, make sure you go get you a hot shot offensive coordinator.
So if I'm a fan, I feel really good about this thing. I feel really good about what's going on in College Station as far as football concerns. If I'm a fan, it's like it's like a 80-degree day in there. Or, even though it's April, it's like well, I guess it's Texas, so it's like always 80 degrees at times, especially around this time. But yeah. If I'm in College Station, I feel good.
I agree. I'm feeling really good. Like I said, year one didn't kind of know what to expect after the Notre Dame game. What was that, week 1? I had some doubts. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was one. Yeah, because they couldn't. Because I think both teams
they were struggling to move the ball. Yeah, they were both really struggling to move the ball. So we spoke on him a little bit earlier, but what's your take on Marcel Reed? I think he's a guy with an enormous upside, and Colin Klein calling plays. I think he can have one of those Lamar Jackson seasons and be in the running for the Heisman. But that's the ceiling. We talk about super ceiling here. I think he showed up. What game was that Connor Wegman was having a terrible game?
Was it LSU?
Well, it might have been LSU, and then Marcel Reed came into the game. And then you see like the switch.
I think it was LSU, right?
It was LSU.
Because Nussmeier turned the ball over too many times also that game.
It was LSU, but you see like the momentum switch where everybody seen Marcel Reed going in. It was like, damn, everybody got hyped. But there was another game I felt like if Connor Wegman was in, they would have won. It might have been the South Carolina game. But or he could have one of those lackluster seasons and be another quarterback in another quarterback battle. And I believe that his floor is extremely low. I'm being honest, but I believe his ceiling is
this past season.
Right, for sure.
Like we talked about like he showed some flashes of being a really solid quarterback, but he also showed a lot of inconsistencies with him being a quarterback.
Right,
and I feel like he's right now the guy at quarterback. Like I had that as a question mark on my position battle thing too for Texas A&M. I'm like, he was there last year. They trusted him at times, so I feel like
he shouldn't have to look on the show over his shoulder. I think he's earned the right, like truly, fall in love with the system, truly learn the system, take command of the offense, and go out there and have fun, bro. So he should 100% be the guy. Let's look at their schedule for a minute before you continue your take, Jalen. Let's see. This is last year's schedule. Let me go to this year's schedule. Alrighty, let's look at this year's schedule.
What it look like?
So they got UTSA at home, Utah State at home. Then they go to South Bend and play Notre Dame September 13th. That'll tell us a lot about both teams. Then their SEC schedule starts. And this is like what life is in SEC. Non-conference games. Home against Auburn. Home against Mississippi State. They have a lot of home games early. I don't like that. Home against Florida. That's an interesting stretch. At Arkansas.
Auburn, Florida, and who?
Yeah, so it's Notre Dame, then it's Auburn at home, Mississippi State at home, Florida at home. Then they go at Arkansas, at LSU, at Missouri, home against South Carolina. I think they are playing home against Sanford, and then Texas last game of the year. I think if they can find a way to, of course they should win their first two games, but if they can win that third game against Notre Dame and get some steam going before they play Auburn, they can start off the season 4-0. That 4-0 can quickly turn into 7-0 if things go perfectly for them.
Yeah. Although we know things, they'll probably have a loss here and there.
Yeah, I would expect so too. But I'm just saying, if they can get through that first part of the season with a lot of those home games other than Notre Dame, they out there looking cool with just like one loss, that wouldn't be bad at all. Brian was saying Boise State plays Notre Dame week 5 or 6, home game for Notre Dame. Brian, how you like your team this upcoming season, man? You think you guys can still win the Mountain West? All right, Jalen, we talked enough about Marcel Reed. What position battles are you paying attention to, and who are your players to watch?
So position battles I'm paying attention to
He said
is you got the second linebacker, second inside linebacker. You got Solomon DeShields, Damian Sanford, and Scooby Williams for the position battle for them at inside linebacker. And then at right tackle was kind of a position because you got Lamont Rogers, and you got Demetrius Crowder. I want to say Crowder has it, but I'm not 100% sold on it. But yeah, those are my main two position battles. Some players, your guy KT, you already know what I'm going to say, right?
Oh,
Kevin Concepcion.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. My dog, Kevin Concepcion from NC State. Yes.
Yeah. Marcel Reed, and then you got offensive tackle. I'm gonna butcher his name. Tyler Anyidum. Yeah, offensive tackle. Those are my just my key players to watch. Yeah, this Texas A&M team should be solid next year though.
That should be really solid. Kevin Concepcion gives you a guy that can go out there and have 80, 90 catches this season.
You said what?
Yeah, I said it gives you a guy that can go out there and have 80 or 90 catches this season. We've seen it as a freshman last year. NC State was just bad, bro.
Yeah, they were terrible. They were terrible.
They were real bad.
Did we predict them to be good last year? I don't remember.
I did. I thought they'd be pretty good, but I don't
remember where I had them on ACC.
Coach Dorian is on the hot seat though, 100%.
Oh yeah,
and he's had a lot of good time there. But can we talk about the ACC media days before we get out of here? I know we're gonna get out of here soon.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw the dates were officially released. I've already put my time in it at work.
What is it?
Wait. It's is it the 20?
Probably 22nd.
22nd to the 24th.
I think 22nd is Monday.
Yeah, 22nd to the 25th. Then actually, so it'll be 22nd, 22nd through the 25th. I'm excited for it. I took off from the 20th to the 28th because I want to get out there early. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting the all you can fly pass this year. So I'm flying. I'm getting out there early. I'm gonna
Oh, you
reserve.
flying there? You ain't driving
Yeah.
there this year?
Now I mean, we think about it. We caught a Uber every day or walked.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for ACC Media Days, man. Genty is Vegas bound. First pick. Hey, I agree with that, bro. He said I don't trust Maddox Madsen at quarterback. We lost our top receivers and top running back. Picked up some P4 transfers at needed positions, but we're still down at the wide receiver position. Genty is Vegas. Yeah. So you excited for ACC Media Days?
Yeah.
Tell me the coach you're looking forward most to talking to. I think I know the answer to that already. And then maybe a player. Like, give me 3 players that's on your wish list.
ACC coach. I like Bill O'Brien last year. Honestly,
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you say Bill Belichick.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, actually, I would love to talk about Belichick, but I think North Carolina was there the day I left.
Oh yeah, they were. Well, they switch it up every year. But I see. I wouldn't talk to Bill on the main stage. I would want to corner his ass in the what do they call it? The breakout rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would rather talk to him there because I feel like he'll be like, you be like, how's it going, Bill? And it's just give you the same look. Who feels coach gave you last year?
That's so weird. Bill Belichick is in college football.
Right. So we're gonna see him this year, bro. That's gonna be crazy. Are you gonna be nervous to ask him a question?
Nah, not really.
Are you gonna say how you doing, Bill?
I don't think he gonna answer, bro. I don't think he gonna answer.
He gonna have his arms folded like these, bro.
I don't think he gonna answer if I ask how he doing today, honestly. And I wouldn't ask him that. Somebody else already asked him.
Yeah, bro. That'd be hilarious, man. You catch any of the playing games last night? I didn't watch the first night.
I ain't gonna lie. Last night was a sleep night. I ain't lying. I was like,
Clay was hooping, bro.
You said who?
Klay Thompson was hooping.
I'll
ask him, I thought he was like out of the league, bro. He was hooping.
He got signed back last year.
Yeah, he was hooping. I was happy for Dallas. I hope Dallas make the playoffs, honestly.
Yeah, I was like,
no shade, Steve.
Like I was like any of these teams really I don't think gonna make it to the playoffs. So I was like, I'm gonna just go to sleep. Like, I don't care.
So you didn't watch the Bulls game either. So you didn't see Tyler Hero put on that, like, you know what I'm saying? His Mariah Carey, like, Q when a hero comes along music. Like, he was hooping, bro.
I saw he had 30 though in the first, like,
dude, like, yeah, he was like, I think he only like missed one of his like first 12 shots. He was hooping. And then they called the offensive foul on one of them where he got fouled, but he kind of did kick out his leg at the end. He was hooping. Tyler Hero was hooping, bro. Playing the passing lanes and everything. Like, I don't know. Like, you could tell like something has awakening like Spo and with.
I mean, he has more of the green light now because Jimmy's gone. So
yeah.
Offense.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the focal point, and you can tell he's enjoying it. So. Which playoff not week one, round one playoff matchup you first excited to see?
Oh, I mean, Celtics Magic. I got Celtics in 5. Pistons versus Knicks is going to be interesting.
That's going to be a really good one. That's going to be a physical old school. That's going to be a physical old school battle.
The Pistons, I think they haven't won a playoff game in like 15 something like a year. Something crazy. Is it like
the bad boys is back though, man?
They haven't won a playoff game since like 2008. If I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Rip Hamilton in there.
Like, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm interested to see that matchup. Like, I know Cat is going to be in the pick and roll a lot with Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. I'm interested to see how they try to expose Cat on defense. I'm interested to see what Isaiah Stewart do to Cat. I know Isaiah Stewart going to try to rough up Cat early on.
You're going to try to punk him.
Yeah. I'm interested in that matchup, honestly.
Who won the trade?
Huh?
Who won the trade between the Timberwolves and the Knicks?
I mean, the Knicks. Timberwolves went down, Knicks went up.
I agree. I just wanted your take on it. How you feel about Reese Halliburton and the Pacers? They're playing is it the Bucks?
Yeah, they're playing the Bucks. They're playing the Bucks. Dame is supposed to be back from his blood clot.
Why do I feel like the Pacers can like
they can
4-1 them? Yeah, like I just had that feeling. Yeah,
well,
like
I don't think so. I feel like the stretch Giannis been on lately. I feel like if they win, it's 4-2.
Okay, you think it'll be 4-2 and 6?
Yeah. Warriors Rockets is interesting. Rockets are seen as the weaker because they don't got that key guy.
They put hands and feet on the Warriors last time they played them,
yeah.
and nobody talked about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, that's been the Rockets the whole season. Nobody's really talking about it. Everybody's like, oh yeah, they're a 2 seed, but since they ain't got no star, they punch them. They can get beat on.
Right.
But they got so much good depth, and they don't play like them and the Pistons. The Pistons and the Rockets don't have good shooters, so they're like, okay, we're just gonna play differently than everybody else.
Right, they do play a different style of game.
Yeah, so
Oklahoma City Thunder largest point differential all time. Are they that good?
Oh yeah, they're that good. Now are they like best team ever? Heck no, heck no. But are they like
they can win it all?
Yeah, I think they can win it all. I hope they don't. I hope they get knocked out in the second round. I wouldn't mind that. I don't want.
What team you avoiding in the East? Is it the Knicks or you cool with?
I want the Knicks. I want the Knicks. We smoked them all season.
What team you don't want to play?
Really? I'm not scared of anything for real.
Oh, for real? In the East or the West?
The West, only the Thunder.
Only the Thunder.
Only the Thunder. The East, if it was a team I didn't want to play, it's the Cavs because I feel like they will pose us the biggest threat. And fans be talking crazy all dang season, and I do not want to lose.
You can't let Cleveland have anything, bro. You can't.
Yeah, like I'm not really scared of no team in the East though. Like I know we can beat the Knicks. Like we put hands and feet on the Knicks in the first game of the season. Did again 3 times after that. The last time we played, Tatum hit a shot to go to OT, and then after that we clutched up in the second and overtime. We put hands and feet on the time before that. Tatum almost had 50.
What was it about the Knicks you didn't like last year?
Oh, it was just Jalen Brunson, nobody else. It was like I know Jalen Brunson's their offense, so without Jalen Brunson, like I know it's like okay, like we're gonna let Josh Hart create. Okay, go ahead.
Hart did hoop in the playoffs though.
He did. I mean, bro didn't sift like the first like 6 games.
It was a couple games. He had like 19 boards, bro. I'm like, Brody is 6'4", bro.
if I'm not mistaken, he played like every minute through the first series. Like the first round.
One of those games was an overtime game, bro.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a minute. Jalen, let everybody know what you've been working on, and we're gonna get up out of here, brother.
Oh yeah, I just released because it kind of turned to the basketball podcast at the end.
For sure.
Hey, that Brandon Jennings Jeff T talk in the Pat Bev, which I don't know if you saw the clip. That man was like,
my man. Don't tell me my boy Jennings ducking smoke, man.
He Pat Bev pulled up to Gil, and Pat Bev was like, "Hey, I got $100K right now. Let's put it up."
Oh,
and then after that, like Gil was like, "Okay, Brandon, you gonna need like 2 or 3 months, right?" And Brandon just like, "Yeah, I ain't playing you." He said, "I ain't playing no dude that never averaged 10 points per game in their career." So then Pat Bev said, "Well, I ain't talking to no dude that ain't got no pension." Because Brandon Jennings did play 10 years in the league, and to play you to get it in the NBA, you got to play 10 years. So it was like I was like, oh, okay. So and then he was like, okay, you ain't average over 10 points, and then Brandon Jennings was like, I ain't call you out, blah blah blah. He said I can see if you just just on some hooping stuff, and then Pat Bev was like, okay, let's just hoop then. He was like, nah, honestly, I don't want to play Pat Bev 1-on-1 because without no rest, that man gonna hack me.
He gonna foul the whole time.
Yeah, I ain't gonna play that.
And then he gonna argue that he didn't foul you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm cool on that. But yeah, I've been working on this video. Well, I already got it released. Worst first round pick by every team since 2010.
And Josh Rosen would hurt, bro.
I wasn't big on Josh Rosen. I'm not respond to your comment. No, I wasn't big on Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, or Josh Allen. I was a Lamar Baker.
I wasn't big on Josh Allen either.
Yeah, I was.
He's not like Rosen. It was because he had started for what, like 3 years in college, 4 years, pro style system. I felt like he was around a player's coach, and then like for whatever reason, it just didn't click.
Honestly, I thought the Patriots were going to pick Lamar Jackson at the end of that first round. What happened because Bill Belichick, I think Bill Belichick just came out and said, "Oh yeah, we should." Or either Robert Kraft or Bill Belichick said we should have picked him. We should have. But I remember us working out with, or Lamar Jackson working out with the Patriots, and it was like, oh, it went well. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, Lamar can. So when I saw Lamar slipping in the draft, I'm like, oh, okay, like Lamar
can go. Who's got draft that year?
Yeah, I was like, you said what?
Who'd y'all draft that year?
I feel like it was like Duke Dawson or somebody like that. Goodness, I don't remember because I know that pick was a bust, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been Isaiah Wynn and Sony Michel, maybe, or maybe that was the year before. Yeah, I was just like, man, Lamar slipping.
It might have been Michelle.
Yeah, I think it was Sony. I think it was Sony Michel at like 31. Yeah, I was like, man, Lamar slipping, cool.
But yeah, as I always like to say, there are no more victories in a sport that survive and advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, you already know what it is. Take care. One.